You know what? I cannot believe that I am going to say this out loud to the world, but I have to be honest with myself and honest with all of you, just to let you know that yes, I am tired. I am tired of healing. And I know that may sound really weird coming from the woman that talks about how important healing is and how much, it is good to focus on your self-love and self-care and spiritual growth and even becoming your dream woman. And even though that I am tired, I still stand by all of that. And although healing is important and all of these things are a crucial part of growth and becoming a better version of yourself, that doesn't mean that you won't get tired. That doesn't mean that you won't want it to end. Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to my channel. If you are new, welcome. If you are coming back, welcome back. I'm so glad to have you. My name is Cassie, and on this channel, we talk all things of healing, self-love, and self-care, and of course, becoming your dream woman, and so much more. So if you like information like this, then I would ask you to please subscribe and like my channel, and stay tuned for more. So yeah, as I was saying, I am feeling super tired from this healing journey. Doing this work for years. I've done the journaling, I've done the praying, I have cried, I have questioned myself over and over again. I have looked and examined my childhood and healed the trauma that I needed to heal through that. I've looked at my current relationships and my past relationships to see what needed to change and shift from that. I also looked and examined my self-worth and healed that. And then I also looked at my money mindset, and I'm still in the process of that. But, overall, I was able to shift my identity as well a few times to grow and expand on this journey. I have even released things that I didn't even realize that I was carrying, or even realizing that the things that I was carrying was affecting my journey in such a strong way. And there have been moments where I have said, okay, God, surely we have to be at the end by now, right? And then 2026, came along, and God basically said, no, girl, we are not done yet. And honestly, it has to be one of the hardest years since I started my healing journey. Because, in the beginning of my healing journey, it was all fun and exciting because I was becoming a new woman. But as we are going along and you become this woman, right, that you've always dreamed of, well, God likes to go a bit deeper, and he's a bit more thorough than I ever imagined. So today I just want to talk about this reset that I am doing once again. Yes, another reset. Because if you have been feeling, exhausted with your own healing journey, if you've been working on yourself, but you're not really seeing the results that you even expected, I want you to know that you are definitely not alone, and it is okay to reset as many times as you need, as long as you don't give up. As I've mentioned, this year has just felt very heavy. So let me just take you back a moment, right? Last year, I felt like I was finally getting somewhere in all of this healing stuff. So, there were periods of intense healing, but then there were breaks. And during those breaks, it gave me a chance to go process and understand with what I was doing, and also release some of the things that were no longer serving me anymore. And then I could just breathe That felt good, right? Having that dynamic of the breaks and the go and stuff like that, that definitely felt nice. Now, during that time though, I'll be honest, I was like thinking that it was taking too long. Boy, oh boy, yes. You know, when things like seem to be going okay, and you're like, well, I just want it to be over, right? But watch what you wish for, because I'm gonna get more into that a little later here. So by the time that 2025 ended, I honestly thought that I've done so much healing work over these last, few years that I was finally done. Like, I couldn't possibly think of any really more things that I needed to heal. And I really believe that in all of my heart. And then 2026 happens, and I realized, oh yeah, we're not done yet, as I've previously mentioned here. Every month to bring on something else for me to look at, something else to release, something else for me to understand. And at times I felt like I couldn't catch my breath. I kept feeling like, oh, okay, what in the heck is going on? What now? And then something else would come up. And then at the end of May, I took a little break. I went and brought my kids to Walt Disney World, and that was a great time. And the weather was beautiful, and that rest was definitely needed. And that led into the June break that God called me to take. And I was reluctant to take that break. I wasn't really feeling that I wanted to take that break, but I kind of needed to take that break. So I did. There were also things happening internally that I needed to work through. Stepped away, but something interesting kind of happened as well. I realized that I actually missed creating. I realized that I missed talking to you, and I missed making videos. I missed sharing what I'm learning and what I learned with all of you. So when I came back, I knew this was something that I enjoy, and that's an important acknowledgement. Sometimes the way that, the crazy way that our brains work is that you don't really understand how much you want something, or you like something, or you enjoy something. You get the gist, right? Until you step away from that thing. And then you're like, yeah, I really enjoy that. I really like it. And so then you realized, yeah, I actually love this. I knew by the end of June that this was something that I really enjoyed doing, and questioning that through my process of like, if this is, truly what I'm supposed to be doing. Then, July came, and oh boy, July was wild, okay? July came in on a whole different level. And I feel like I went through a second awakening. And honestly, this second awakening was much harder than my first. Because, as I shared earlier on in this video here, first awakening journey was like my healing journey, and it was a lot of excitement around it. I was, becoming my dream woman, and I was working to do that. In the process, I was becoming more feminine, more confident, loving myself, changing my identity, creating my dream life. And yes, they're absolutely a beautiful part of all of that. But I think what I didn't quite understand was that eventually we had to go a bit deeper than that. And I didn't really understand what that would look like and what that would entail until this kind of came along. And there was points where I didn't know if I was coming or going, to be honest, okay? And a lot of things that were coming up was about my money beliefs. The beliefs that I had about abundance, the beliefs I had about success, the beliefs about what I'm capable of having. And that was hard things that I had to face. And but like, I knew I had all of these beliefs around all of these things. But another part that kind of was hard was I just didn't know how to overcome them. They were through my experiences, but if you haven't really had the opposite experience, I found it kind of hard to try to heal through this, right? It was different to heal through like self-love and self-worth and self-confidence and things like that than this money mindset. Because I think because money has such a powerful, it's not really powerful, but we believe that it is powerful because of what the world has made money be, right? Like you can't live anywhere, you can't have a life, right, without money. You need money to buy groceries, to have a place to live, to go on vacations, to do everything. So when you had some circumstances and you really struggled on money things in the past, and then also when you are seeing from your childhood too and things like that, right? Like it just all kind of like into a bigger bubble. And it's hard to say that rich or that I'm abundant or that I'm successful when my world is saying something totally different to me. This is one of my biggest downfalls, I think, right? To this world that I'm trying to be Delulu in some cases, is to like fake that you, right? There's a lot of people who are saying just tell yourself every day that you're rich, you're rich, you're rich. I don't know who possibly can really do that. Especially like if you are behind in your bills and things are just hitting the fan, right? Like, how are you supposed to say, yeah, I'm rich, when nothing in your world is saying that you're rich? And so I struggled with that. And I think that I'm still in the process of actually working through to this day, because pretty deep within me, due to, you know, my previous circumstances in my childhood and everything like that. You know, God started flipping things over a bit with me, right? And this is where I really struggled, because there were moments when I was just generally frustrated with God at this point, right? I was angry, I was crying, I was questioning everything. And I was basically saying, why are you doing this to me? Yes, I was in that little victim mindset, okay? Not perfect at this, it is what it is. I was questioning, like, why do you keep on having me look at something else? Why can't I just move forward? And why can't I just finally enjoy the fruits of my labor? All the things that I've been working towards. And one of the hardest things for me was that I felt like I was doing everything that God asked me to do. And that obedience, I thought, was going to come my blessings. But I wasn't seeing those blessings, aka results, right, in my life. And that really started messing with my mind, because taught to measure our success by results. I mean, everywhere you look, right? The business is looking at how the business is performing, right? Yes, looking at how the business is performing. And so we're looking at the different metrics of, okay, so what are the views for this business? How much money is this business bringing in? How much interaction are they getting on their social medias, whatever, right? And I'm just kind of talking about my business. And so, you know, when you're looking at all of those things, you can quickly kind of say, well, your business really isn't doing well. And that then even started me questioning everything even a little bit deeper, because I'm like, okay, well, my business isn't doing well. Like, nothing is working here. Like, what is the problem? I started asking, is this really what I'm supposed to be doing? I started really questioning everything here, Because according to the world's definition of success, my life, it did not look like success. My business, wasn't succeeding. I wasn't seeing the growth in any of the areas that I was working at in my personal life neither. And personally, things seemed to be going in the opposite way that I expected. And so I started thinking, like, God, am I missing something? I even asked him. Now, if you're around my age, you will know, I don't know what year this came out, but I started asking him, do you have me on that punk show? Are you like recording me and you're going to put me on TV because you're punking me? Because you're telling me to do this and I'm doing that, but you're still not blessing me in any of my areas that I'm asking for blessings? Like, what in the heck is going on? I really had to start having some unpleasant conversations with God, right? I was frustrated. I was angry. I was at my wit's end with this process. Because every time I felt like I was finally going to get over that mountain, I would get brought back to, like I said, look at something else, do something else, heal something else. And I was just like, and I know it's probably for like my greatest good in all of this, but when you are really working this hard and you're not seeing anything blossom, it is really hard to understand that, right? Or to accept that. Like, oh, I know this is for my greatest good, but why is this happening? Yeah. Willing to work. I'm a worker, okay? So it's not like I'm a slacker, like just praying, waiting around. Some people are saying like they're just waiting, right? Well, I'm not a waiter. I'm a worker. I will work towards my things. Right? That's just what I do. That's a big part of this as well. Don't get me wrong. I don't think God will just bless you because you have a kind heart. No. He won't. Okay, you do have to put this intentional work in even to get to this blessing. But in order to get to this blessing, it can be difficult. Also angry with him because he tested me, right? Oh, he tested me to, I don't even know what, but he tested me a lot. And I finally told him, like, you have tested me so much. Like, you should know where my heart posture is at this point. You should know that I am in this for the long haul. But you keep on testing me and you keep pushing me. You're going to finally get where I'm going to lose it, okay? Because, one can only take so much, right? Of the testing, of the pulling, of the healing, of all of these different things. And that's where I finally kind of came at the end of June, early August. It was a big bubbling point for me of finally saying enough is enough and I can't take it anymore. Areas that I had to take responsibility for the things that maybe I slacked on and stuff. Yes, I have taken responsibility in those areas. I am not saying that I was perfect, but I was pretty close. Okay, not gonna lie. For, to get these blessings that I've been praying for and working towards. But one of the things that kind of hit me a little hard and it was a little frustrating is about my health and fitness goals, right? Like, I've been working my butt off, going to the gym, getting my steps in, doing my strength training. But where I was a little slacky-wacky with this is, I didn't measure my food, and I wasn't measuring or weighing my food. I was just kind of eyeballing things and just kind of trying to keep a track in my head because, it's just one thing that I just didn't want to have to do another thing, to be honest. And that's why I kind of enjoyed doing a bit of like the keto and stuff like the track. But here I needed to track, and God kind of brought that into my world when I was going through all of this talking and frustration with him, and he was telling me that you need to track because obviously, I'm not getting the results that I wanted due to not being in a deficit. My eyeballs were really measuring things a lot, much more mass than what the measuring cups would have, or the scale, right? It was funny because I even weighed a piece of meat last night, and I'm like, oh, yeah. That would have been like, I would have called it like 6, ounces, and it was like 7.4. So yes. So you are, on this health and fitness kick too, I highly recommend you not to slack on the measuring and the weighing process on this. It's just what's do sometimes, even when you don't feel like it. And then I also had a little reset with my business as well. There were some things that were coming up, and God was, pointing out that He wanted me to share more about what I learned through my different relationship dynamics, and how my childhood, and everybody's childhood at that, plays a huge role in the type of partner that you attract and accept in your adult life. I mentioned this through some of the other stories, but I was really at a very strong point of giving up. I was like, maybe I should just stop everything because nothing is adding up. Everything that I'm working towards isn't coming to fruition. So stop doing these things, right? Because I was putting expectations, I was believing, I was working towards these things. And then when I didn't get the results that I was, hoping for at the end, it started to crush my spirit, right? It started crushing my confidence and really taking a toll on what I believed that I could even accomplish. Talking to God about that too, like, what are you doing to me? You want me to be confident and do all this, but you're not really helping me by you're kind of keeping all of these things that I'm working towards at bay. You're not blessing me with any of this, People will say that, do it on your own. To differ, because if you are on a journey with God, God has the control, okay? You feel like it or not, God has the control, and He closes doors and He opens doors as He sees fit. And sometimes His timing is not always the timing that we think it should be. And it's not always the timing that we want, right? Because I wanted the business growth. I wanted the money. I wanted the relationship. I wanted this next chapter to be beautiful and amazing, right? And I wanted those blessings, and I wanted them now. I thought this was my time. I've worked really hard. 3 years, God said, not yet. And in some situations, I could say, yes, okay, earlier on when I was really pushing for some of these things, I truly wasn't ready for them. And honestly, I don't know if I am truly ready for what is to come now, but how do you know if you're ready if it never comes, right? And how do you become ready if it never comes? You have to kind of be able to work through some of these situations in order to learn and grow and prosper into this higher version of yourself that you want to be. And so that's kind of what I was saying too. Like, if you want this and you want that with me, then I need you to give me these things so I can start working towards them, right? The pause that God has in our lives, right? Dating room is preparation for what He wants to create within you. And so He's not, punishing you and all that. He could just be preparing you. And the delay isn't denial, but He is developing something else within you that you may not even really be able to know right now until it all kind of comes together. In this process of being in the waiting room, though, you still need to take action. You still have to, make your changes. You still have to check your habits and make sure that your habits are aligned with the person who you want to become. You have to take responsibility for the things that you're doing and not doing. And you have to do the overall work of what you would like your life to look like, right? The work, I mean, being aligned with this future version of yourself. Work, if you are looking for maybe to start your business, well, then you need to look into what that is going to look like. Or maybe you are looking for your dream job. Well, what does that look like? And who do you need to become in order to bring all of those things in? Sometimes you have to trust that everything is going to happen, but not on your timeline. But I was running out of trust, right? I had that trust. I had faith. I had belief for a long time. And I was starting to run out. I was upset. And while I was running out and being angry with God, questioning Him, crying, I think this is what God was kind of looking for me to do, honestly, because the other times that this was happening, I'd say, okay, God, I understand, da 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 da. I think what He was waiting for is for me to finally say, no, I've had enough. And I had enough last time, but I was trying to be good Christian woman, kind of. But sometimes you got to be real with God, right? And you got to kind of put the hammer down and say, you know what? I am done. And if this is the way you're going to be, then this is the way I'm going to be too. And that's exactly what I had to do. And that happened really early August and things. I'm not sure if you follow astrology or not, but this is the fire horse year, okay? And so with the fire horse year, I was really excited for it because I am a Sagittarius, so I am a horse sign, and I usually really like things to go fast and furious. Well, this fire horse is really fast and furious, a little bit more fast and furious than what I really was expecting. And so this year, like I was saying, we had so many different planetary shifts, but the end of July really kind of started hitting at a whole new level because the nodes were switching after 18 months of being in certain signs. They were switching. I believe the north was in Virgo and the south was in Pisces. And now I believe that the north is in Leo and the south is in Aquarius, I believe. So, we're switching signs and it will definitely affect on how we are viewing the world because the Pisces sign is more of imagination and the Virgo was very much like earth. So they wanted to see results, right? Like I was kind of saying, I was looking for the results to show up in my world to judge if I was doing these things right or wrong, right? And the Leo is more like heart. Their structure is a little different. I can't really go into big detail because I didn't study this too much for this, but they're just in different signs now, and these different signs are going to stay for, I believe, 18 months, which is going to effectively change how we see the world. And then in early August also we had it's not a planet, but it is, I think, a star. It's called Chiron. And Chiron in the late 70s, 77, I believe. Somewhere in the 70s, okay, they found it. The scientists finally discovered it, and it is more of the warrior of ourselves. And early August started going retrograde in Taurus, and I'm a Taurus moon and a Sagittarius sun. So I have a bit of earth and fire, and so where this Chiron was hitting the Taurus sign was in my identity and the way that I viewed the world and my money and all of this, because Taurus is very materialistic, right? Because it's earth. And yes, my life was really just disheveled because of that. And it was making me need to look at things a little bit even deeper and stuff like that. And then finally, August 8th was the Lion Gate portal that opened. And so that was kind of the start of a reset that we are currently going through. But even before that, right, August 6th, if you follow the Schumann results, we had a timeline jump on August 6th. And so August 7th, things started feeling, for me at least personally, a lot more calmer, and I could just like breathe and I could say, okay. And then August 8th was, like I said, the Lion Gate portal. And then, then today is the 10th. So in a couple days, we are going to have an eclipse in Leo. A lot of planets now in Leo. So whoa, things are going to be really intense. And this can be actually a really good intense, but it may not be a good intense depending on where you are in your journey, okay? If you are still working through releasing and healing and things like that, then that's going to be like an intensity for you. Or if you're in a place where you are like building and really expanding and things like that, then that's going to be kind of an intense for you as well. But yes, this is just the start of it, honey, because right, couple more weeks, at the end of August, we have another eclipse in Pisces. Pisces is the last horoscope sign. And so what they say, like the astrologist, is that the Pisces is like basically the end of the cycle, the end of things that are happening because of it being the last of the signs in the horoscope. Hoping that the eclipse at the end of August will truly be the end of that cycle that we were in, or that I was in personally, because I think we're all in kind of different cycles too. So depending on what cycle you're in, it could be a completion or is still to go through yours. There's just a lot of things, like I said, like this kind of coming up, and these planetary shifts have been really intense. And some people are feeling it and some people are not, but I think it's all depends on where you are in your journey. I think the planetary shifts are really helping us and giving us momentum with being able to shift faster, release faster, going through the process much faster than what we were prior, even just a few years ago, right? So it's all exciting. I'm so excited for that. And so just know that if you're on this healing journey and you are feeling tired, I want you to hear this. You are not failing because you are tired. It's normal. We're humans. Healing is exhausting. Growth is exhausting. Changing your identity over and over is exhausting. Breaking generational curses and patterns in your life is exhausting. Learning to love yourself after years of criticizing yourself is hard and tiring. Learning to trust yourself again after not for so many years is hard. And learning how to receive true, honest love is also exhausting and hard. Learning how to receive money and abundance, just actually to receive, right? You can't receive money, chances are you can't receive a compliment neither. You can't receive things without self-sabotaging them. That can also be exhausting. And sometimes we just need to take a break. Not quit, not abandon ourselves or the journey, but rest, breathe, take a moment and say, okay, I need to recharge. And don't let the lack of your results define your worth. Because I was kind of feeling a little bit stuck in this area where I was, thinking because I wasn't getting the results that I must be doing something wrong. It must be showing up in a way that you wanted me to show up or whatnot. But that really had nothing to do with it neither. And I had to really quickly change that up, because a lot of times we grow up thinking that our worth is based on what we have, right? The job that we have, the house that we have, and so forth. But it's truly not. What I promised myself with this reset, and I'm going to take the next 30 to 45 days, more like the 45 days, and I am going to give it my all. Okay, not that I haven't But this year, like I said, it was exhausting. I haven't done the manifestation work that I was doing prior. I wasn't doing more the positive, like mindset work, because I was just feeling very defeated. I'm not gonna give it frantic effort, not desperation, because desperation don't get you anywhere neither, boo. But just some focused effort. I'm going to show up a little bit differently and be more intentional with what I'm doing. I want to work smarter and not harder. I want to take care of my body. I want to be more consistent with my content. I want to work on my mindset again and really get that back to a beautiful place. With doing all of that, I want to see what happens. Because ultimately, if I am putting in this consistent, intelligent efforts and something still isn't working, then I am willing to reevaluate. And I guess that is life, right? We have to really kind of look at our life from time to time, more often than not, and say, what do we need to change? What do we need to release? What do we need to do to create the life that we want? And we can't follow the masses, because the masses aren't happy. The masses aren't living their dream life, and so you can't really follow them. And that may be a hard concept for you, right? Especially if you have always wanted to fit in. This journey is going to be where you're not going to fit in. And so we have 5 months left of this year, okay? 5 months left in 2026. So let's take these next 5 months and put massive effort to create the changes that we truly want, right? Because our mindsets can change, our bodies can change, our lives can change, our business can change. There can be lots of change in 5 months. So we can't say, oh, well, we'll wait till 2027. No, do it now. Start tomorrow. Figure out a plan and start getting your plan together. Because, time is an illusion, but time is like, we can't get time back neither. We only have so many years here on earth. So we can't keep on wasting them saying we're going to wait till next year to change our lives. We're going to wait until life gets easy before you do that. Could be telling yourself that for 5 years. Has your life gotten easy? And when it is easy, do you really think that you're going to try to go back and do some hard stuff? No, you're like, oh, I'm finally at a nice place. You're going to accept the life that you're living because it's easy. So stop it, okay? Truly want to grow and change and become that person of your dreams? You're going to really need to get your head out of your butt and figure out what the heck you need to do. And don't worry about other people judging you. Don't worry about what they're gonna say. Because like I said, they're not living their dream life. And so a lot of people aren't going to accept you trying to become your dream woman, right? They're not going to accept you creating your dream life. You're going to get some hatred. You're going to get some jealousy. You're going to get people want to put their nose up in the air towards you and say, oh, you've changed. Oh, you've this. Oh, you've that. Yep. Hey, you're going to be a villain in many people's stories. And you just have to be okay with that. And if you're not, then I would strongly look at that, because looking for everybody else's validation and acceptance will really steal your life. It will steal the things that you are truly here and meant to do, and what truly really makes you happy. That they want you to do better, people say that, but they only want you to do better when you're not doing better than them. So, a lot of things, I keep quiet. I don't say much. I always want to make comments and try to talk you out of living your best life, make you feel bad for it. So no, do not get talked out of living your dream life. Because let me tell you, babe, you are worthy, you are beautiful, You are loved and you deserve to heal and to become the best version of yourself and live your dream life. But you have to do the work, because you're never going to be able to overcome the beliefs that you need to put into retirement in order to truly get into your dream life. You can't just wiggle your nose like a witch and just be like, okay, here it is. I wish it was that simple, but unfortunately it's not. About what you need to do. Where do you want your life to go? What do you want your life to look like? And if you are feeling like you need to heal your self-worth, then I would check out my website. I will leave it in the description. I have a 10-module healing program in there that I used to be able to heal and overcome my self-sabotage, about learning how to shift your identity, your self-concept, your self-esteem, self-confidence, all of these things that really go into your self-worth, right? Because self-worth has such a big umbrella. It is a great program, and it will help transform your life for you to become your dream woman. And it's eclipse season, and the effects from these eclipses last 6 months. There's still like an effect in like January of next year. So beware, it's not gonna all kind of happen in August. It will happen through the next 6 months. It will eclipse things in and it will eclipse things out. So beware, be open, and just know that anything that is leaving your life is because it is no longer for your highest good. So I love you, and I'll see you next time. Bye.